Good day and welcome everyone, Stuart here from Northern Bolts and Tool, and today we've got another exciting test on the go. So we've now completed our test rig for angle grinders. We're going to be looking at cutting discs today. We've selected a range of our top brands in our store. This Oasis brand, however, is a sample that someone dropped off for us to try. They're looking to try and get into our shop, so we're going to put them to the test against our other existing brands. We've chosen 115 cutting discs. They are all 1mm thick and they all weigh approximately 29 grams, give or take. So what we're going to do is we're going to rig up our rig here. We're going to time how long it takes the angle grinder to cut through a piece of round bar. We're going to time it to get a speed test. Then we're going to do multiple cuts with the same disc, and we've got the weights before. We're going to compare it to the weight after and see how much material was lost, and we're going to put that into a percentage of the original starting weight just to try and balance things out and give us some more clear data. So guys, I'll show you a little bit more about our rig. We're very proud of it. We are using a corded grinder for this test. We're not testing the grinder, we're testing the discs, and a corded grinder will give us nice consistency in terms of power and performance throughout all the tests. Whereas, as we know from a cordless unit, as the battery starts to run down, performance drops off, and there's a lot of variables with that, and we don't want to have to recharge a battery every time we make a cut. So corded grinder here on this awesome rig that we have built. When I say we, I mean Fred. He's the owner of Northern Bolts. He's my dad. So thank you very much, Dad. This rig is awesome, and we're going to show you guys how it all works and get into some testing. So with that, let's get into it and let's have a look. All right, guys. So this is our rig. So the way it works, we mount the grinder in here. We've got adjustment on this part here. We can screw it in and out to make adjustments to make sure that the blade is perfectly perpendicular to what we are cutting. We can also adjust it for different grinders. We've got another slot up front here, as well as another one of these that's a little bit longer, just so that we can adjust for any type of grinder when we do the grinder tests. So if you'd like to see grinder tests, please subscribe so you don't miss that. It will be coming up. So once we've secured the grinder in place, like that, with clamps and whatnot, then we insert our little piece of cutting material. This is 12mm round bar, and it slots in like so. We can set the height to the blade and fasten it in with this U-bolt here, and then it's pretty much all set to go. From there, we've got this piece of wire rope, so that hooks in onto this part here, and on the end we slot through a weight. Now the weight, that'll give us consistent force being applied to the grinder throughout the test and make things as fair as possible. So this wire rope runs in this pulley like so, and it pulls this whole sled forward. So there is a locking part at the back here. So once it's unlocked, you can get ready for the test, and it slides the grinder towards the workpiece that we are going to be cutting, the cutting material over here. So it's pretty simple. Got some nice draw sliders over here with ball bearings in, nice good quality stuff. When the test bed moves forward, you can see here we have this bolt over here. I'll just move this out of the way so you can see it more easily. This is the stopper here, the set screw over here. You can adjust it in and out so it will stop the sled further or closer to the material depending on the wear of the disc. Obviously, as the disc wears, it gets a little bit smaller, so we can move this back a little bit so it can still continue to cut even if the disc gets worn substantially. So that's pretty much how that works there. And yeah, that's pretty much the rig in a nutshell. So we're going to be doing that, time how long it takes to cut through our 12mm round bar, and then we're going to do multiple cuts like I mentioned before, and we're going to weigh before and after to see how much material is lost per disc and just get some wear estimates on cutting and usability on those discs. So that, guys, let's set this up properly. We're going to go outside for this. We don't want to cause a fire in the store. So let's get into it and do some testing. All right, guys, we're all set up here. We've got our protective guard over here to catch any stray sparks. We've lined everything up. Everything looks good to go. Let's get into the testing. All right, guys, test number one. Let's get going. 3, 2, 1. All right, guys, now time for the Metabo. 3, 2, 1. Alright guys, now time for the Ingco. Alright guys, now time for the Tork Craft. Alright guys, now time for the Pferd. Let's go. Alright guys, now time for the Lukas. Alright guys, that's testing done and dusted. Let's go and take some measurements, weigh the discs, have a look at the footage, get some timing down, and then let's go back to the studio to discuss the results. Alright guys, we've got the results. Let's chat about them and jump into what we found out about these cutting discs. So, we did find out something about our rig and about our testing, and that our material that we used for cutting, the 12mm round bar, it had a bit of inconsistency within the material itself. So what we did with the speed test is that we ran all the tests, we timed all of them, and we took an average just to try and make it as fair as possible for each of the cutting discs. So with that in mind, there was a clear winner in terms of the average speed, and that was Pferd. It cleaned up the competition by a long shot. Second up was Metabo, followed by Ingco, Tork Craft, Oasis, and then Lukas taking the longest to complete cutting through the round bar. Now, I must just put it out there that none of these discs are inherently bad. All of them got the job done. All of them cut really, really nicely. So no issues there from our perspective. But the Pferd was the quickest with regard to speed. Now, in terms of wear and durability and weight loss, we saw a little bit of a difference there in terms of the discs coming out on top. Lukas lost the least amount of weight. In percentage terms, it lost about 2.1% of its material in terms of weight, followed by a three-way tie between Pferd, Tork Craft and Ingco, losing about 2.8% of their mass. Then it was Oasis, 3.3% more or less, and then Metabo losing 3.6% of its weight. So the Metabo, although it was the second fastest in cutting, it also lost the most amount of material. So what does that mean? So let's talk about pricing quickly. Although the Pferd won the speed test and it was the second best in terms of wear, tied second, it is the most expensive disc by far. So in our shop, it retails for about R39.50 for one disc, which is quite pricey compared to the others. The next most expensive is the Metabo at around 20 bucks. Then we've got the Lukas disc at around 16 Rand, so quite a big drop off there. Then Tork Craft coming in at 14 Rand, Ingco at 12, 13 Rand. Now, just something to note with the Ingco, you can't get the disc on its own. The smallest pack is a 10 pack, and in that 10 pack, they come in, work out to around 12, 13 Rand per disc. Now, you can buy them in larger quantities, which brings the price down per unit, but we went for the most expensive way of purchasing that disc, just for the purposes of this test. The least expensive disc would be the Oasis brand, coming in at around 8 Rand, 59 Rand, somewhere around there. That's what we would retail it. We don't have the Oasis yet available in store. We wanted to do this test first to see how it compared to the others and just see if it's comparable, if it's worth us investing the time and effort in stocking it. So when you look at pricing and performance, if you want something that performs the best and you're not too worried about pricing, Pferd is the obvious choice. But if you do want more value from your cutting disc, I would recommend looking at either Ingco or Tork Craft. Both gave very, very good cutting speeds. Both wore very, very well as well, comparable to Pferd in terms of wear, and a little bit slower than Pferd, quite a bit slower, but it was in line with the others. It was, I think, the third fastest, just behind the Metabo, which was 20 Rand. So, quite a big jump in price percentage wise from the Ingco and Tork Craft to the Metabo. So for me, the best value discs are the Tork Craft and the Ingco discs. Now, obviously, if you buy them in those bundle packs, sometimes the price per unit comes down. So just something to keep in mind with regard to that. Now, we have learned a lot about our testing rig and about testing these cutting discs. It isn't perfect just yet. We will revisit this type of video. We will be testing grinders coming up in the next few weeks. But some of the changes that we're going to make to our material, we're going to get something that's a little bit better quality and maybe more consistent all the way through. That, I think, is the biggest area of improvement that we could make here. But generally, I think our rig is working quite nicely. If you guys have any suggestions in the comments or anything you'd like to see us do with this rig or test various products, hit us up in the comment section down below and we'll give it a shot. With that, guys, I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope you've found it a little bit insightful into the cutting discs that are on the market in South Africa right now. And I hope you guys just learned something and enjoyed the video. If you have done so, please hit the like button and subscribe if you've not done so already. All of these discs are available in store. Some of them are available online as well. If they're available online, the links will be in the description below. Otherwise, you're more than welcome to come in store or send an inquiry through and we'll be able to help you out with supplying any of these discs to you guys out there. So guys, thank you very, very much for watching once again. I hope you enjoyed the video and I'll catch you again next week.